How is? I'm back. I was laid up for a while. About 4 weeks ago, I was doing some megalithic hunting with some friends, and I fell down a hill. Well, a small hill that was slippery down in Cork, and my foot literally went back to here, and I heard that, and I assumed my three bones in my leg was broken because I've broken my leg bone before, and I know exactly what that sound and feeling is like. And I was with my friend, look, I was with my friend John, and he picked me back up. And you know that moment where you have a broken leg or a broken arm and you put pressure on it and you get that a sensation of absolute agony running up through your whole body. Well, it didn't happen to me. I knew I didn't break anything, but my leg was all sore and hurt. And then I went to a pub, had a few beers, somehow managed to get back to Dublin and Neurofens. And then 2 days later, my leg from my hip all the way down to my toes was pure purple and was in agony. I went to the doctor and got all the tests and everything. And I had no broken, I had no, like I suspected, nothing was broken, but the muscles, the ligaments, the nerves were all torn to bits. And so this is the first day I haven't been using crutches, so I'm in a great mood. I can actually walk by myself now again, and it's only hurts at night time at this point. About 3 o'clock in the morning, I will get a sort of a niggling. The nerve damage was the worst part of all, but considering my age and everything, Jesus, I have bones of titanium, and it could have been a hell of a lot worse. I could have ended up like losing a leg or something because it was really mangled and badly twisted around. And I'm still seeing a physio and things like that. They put me on these painkillers that were much too. This is one of the reasons I didn't make the videos. I wasn't depressed. It was just that the pain was there constantly, and it was putting me off doing things. That's why there's been very, other than having a laugh on Facebook, I haven't really done much. That's to cheer myself up. But they put me on these painkillers that were so strong that they turned me into a zombie, and I was having really bad constipation and things like that. So got off them, and the odd Nurofen now and again, and that's it. But I'm grand. I'm going to be grand, and I'd rather it happen now than when it was during the summer or spring and summer when I'm touring and exploring and stuff like that. Even though ironically it happened when I was exploring, but hey, we survived, and like I said, I got off seriously lucky. I could have been out for the rest of the year, but life. It was kind of like the positives is that like the doctor even said you have bones like steel, and so that was good. So anyway, yeah. So what's been happening since then? Well, not really much, really. It's like I said, it's been just a matter of dealing with the pain. But I've been doing something I normally don't do, and I watch the news, and I watched it online. I don't have a TV, and paying attention to this coronavirus thing, and it all seems so unbelievably suspicious to me. What better way to end the civil unrest in Hong Kong from spreading through the rest of China, other than, maybe, I'm sure the virus is true, but like everything else, governments, and particularly totalitarian governments, have a vested interest in hyping up these things in order to control the population. So as far as I'm concerned with the coronavirus thing, having looked at it and everything, yes, it's real. Two, it's overblown as a form of a curfew. And we have to be careful they don't try and do it in the West. I'm sure there's many Western governments, particularly European governments who are socialist inclined, Marxist, communist, cultural Marxist nations like Ireland, Sweden, Norway, will be enviously watching China and seeing that that's an ideal mechanism for shutting things down. But that's one to watch out for. I don't know. I don't believe. Like, we've been hearing about these pandemics forever, for absolutely ever, and it's very suspicious. It's we're always going to be wiped out by something. That's part of the Christian programming in the culture, that Judgment Day is coming. But mixed feelings about that one. But I do believe ultimately it's being used as a curfew, and I do think the kind of Western governments that are Marxist in nature, cultural Marxist, the ones that are operating under critical theory, like here in Ireland, well, are looking envious on that. Speaking of here in Ireland, we had an election, a general election, and Sinn Féin, basically the political wing of the IRA, won, who are, by the way, extreme internationalist, globalist Marxists. They are old-fashioned, internationalists, Marxists. This is why I never supported the Irish cause, while that Unite Ireland cause, because these people wanted a socialist republic. They wanted a Cuba or a North Korea. This is what they wanted. Now, they won 1/3 of the votes here for the reason that there was basically a protest vote against the government. But when and first it looked like they were going to win all the seats and just about cream up loads of constituencies. But by the time the final ballot was done, them and the two main parties, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, all had about the same number of seats. Neither one of them alone, adding with because Ireland's a very different system than the USA. It's a parliamentary democracy based on proportional representation, and so a government, the party that wins the most seats can go into a coalition government with independents and smaller parties. The thing is that there isn't enough seats that were won by smaller parties like the Greens and the other it was like a left wing coup in Ireland. Other Marxist parties, even more Marxist than Sinn Féin, and the independents and all the others, there wasn't enough seats there to form a government. They're still way off. So the only way they can form a government is to go into coalition with one of the other big parties. The two biggest parties have already said they won't go into a coalition with them. So I don't know what's going to happen with Ireland. Will there be another general election to try and sort it out? But I think people got very frightened when they realised that it was one of those things like you do it for a laugh and then you wish you didn't do it. And I think that's why many people voted for Sinn Féin here, is that it did it kind of like to piss off the government, who are just like total globalist EU cultural Marxists, the ones the government we have now, and who only run Ireland for people like Angela Merkel is essentially the Prime Minister of Ireland, and now they realise the mistake they might have made, that you basically have a Trotskyite government in Ireland. And I think if there was another election, those ones who voted Sinn Féin would have a change of heart and would not vote them in again. So it's kind of interesting what's going on here, but it's at the same time too, it's completely left wing in every way. Even the other parties which are called right wing or might have been traditionally right wing. I mean, Fine Gael were actually once fascist brown shirts. I mean, they started in the 30s with, blue shirt marches and doing Hitler salutes and everything. That's their history, and they're as woke as anything now. And their leader, current Taoiseach Prime Minister, is a Hindu Indian guy with who's gay and married to another fella. I've nothing against any of those kinds of things, but it just goes to show you how they twisted. How politics means nothing. You know what I mean? It's like people in England voting for Labour, thinking that it's the Labour of the 1960s that represented coal miners and factory workers and the working class. That's not who the Labour Party represents in the UK now. The Labour Party in the UK now is just like Fine Gael in Ireland and Sinn Féin. They're totally about the woke agenda. So it's like, I have no respect. Oh, my dad voted Labour, my father voted Republican, my uncle voted Democrat. I must vote this way because I'm from a traditional family. Don't look, this is the biggest problem with politics, that people vote for who their grandparents voted for. And basically, Ireland's in a bad way. Unless something really drastically happens, we're totally under the control of the globalists now. And I don't vote anyway. I don't believe in it, and it's a waste of time. But I used to believe in it, and I do believe it can work in things like Brexit and Trump, where enough people can just do it to piss off the establishment. That won't happen in Ireland because the Irish are. Let me tell you about this. That's a myth about the fighting Irish. The Irish are a mostly servile, feckless race who do exactly as they're told by politicians, priests, or the man on the telly. That's just how they've always been. the fighting, or the ones who fought for independence, were a tiny minority at the time. The vast majority of Irish would have been running up to Dublin Castle to say, this guy's in the IRA, this one is in this, your one here is in the Irish Citizens Army. But it only shows you only a tiny number of intelligent and people to get things done. So I mean, can Ireland flip in the future? Of course it can. It probably will at some point. But right now the population are just totally feckless, and they're just ninnies really. And I mean, they still think that the government does things for you. Like, what, they'll say, oh, we have a housing crisis because the last housing minister wasn't incompetent. No, he wasn't. He was totally competent. His job was in there. His job is to be put in there to make sure that no new housing is built, so landlords and developers can jack up the prices of houses and apartments and rentals. He's completely competent, but they still believe that the purpose of these politicians is to serve the people. I mean, this is just, our Irish people still think that's what democracy is. Now, and finally, another thing I've been paying attention to is the Corey Haim thing. I don't believe for a minute he's going to do anything. If he was going to expose all the nonsense and perverts in Hollywood that molested him as a kid, allegedly, because of the mafia in Hollywood being so powerful, he'd be swimming with the fishes by now. And in his book, apparently, he exposed no one. And it'll be the same with this upcoming big media event. I just think it's just a way of keeping his career going. If it's a pay-per-view thing and he cares about the truth, why is he selling it? Firstly, because there's money in it. It's a gig. And also, I'm not saying he's not telling the truth, but he's probably he could be he's not going to name people who are alive and powerful. I can tell you that. He's not going to do that, okay? If he was, he'd be already swimming with the fishes. So these people are going, oh, Corey Haim is going to bring down Hollywood. He isn't going to bring down shit. I'm going to make a couple of videos now on the Open Source Occult TV channel. And look after yourselves. A new Vaughn is in the work and a few other things. Bye.